Estrogenics are things that are literally like coming from man-made stuff, man-made items, and it kind of impacts our body in a way that, in the same way that estrogen does. I won't go into the very exact science. I'd probably end up butchering it, and of course, like, someone will comment and say like, oh, actually, that's not true. But it's like, in a very simple way, a lot of things in our modern day are estrogenic. That just means that they'll spike our estrogen in a bad way, in a simple explanation. What are the things that do this? There's a lot. Plants, literally just like vegetables and stuff. Some of them are very estrogenic, and it's the ones that you actually know about, but have been debated recently, like soy. Soy is extremely estrogenic. There's a lot of people who argue against it and everything, but apparently it's like extremely estrogenic. Then it's the herbicides. It's like the stuff that they put on plants. You know, like they drop it onto plants to make sure the plants grow well, that there's no contamination when they're growing vegetables and stuff. That's estrogenic. Then soaps and fragrances, literally like toiletries. Then plastics, literally just, like, when I first heard this, I thought, okay, oh, probably some kind of plastic or something, right? Literally just plastics. Plastics just in general are estrogenic. And plastics, if you didn't realize, they are absolutely everywhere, and they don't decompose. You can't really burn them to get rid of them because that emits horrible gases. Plastics, when they are made into a plastic bottle, it will literally stay in this world like for a very long time. You can't really get rid of it. Literally, like, this blew my mind. Literally just plastics, not some certain kind. You know, you've heard BPA free. We spoke about that before, right? BPA free. So that's what you're thinking right now. Okay, but I'll just get some BPA. No. BPA free is a cope. BPA free is exactly like some food product saying fat free. You're quite educated now. You know when something says fat free or low fat, you know that it's a cope, don't you? Because if they've taken the fat is extremely healthy for us. If they've taken the fat out of Greek yogurt, why have they processed it like this? They've taken the fat out and it's gonna taste horrible. And so what they do is they put in chemicals and sugar instead. The rise of like fat-free food products is exactly linear to the rise of like pretty much every fucking health disease, because we're supposed to have extremely high levels of fat in our diet. When you see fat-free in any food product, you know it's a cope. When you see BPA-free, you know it's a cope. You know why? Because when they don't put in the BPA, which is just one type of chemical that is in plastics, they then just put in other ones, which are usually worse. There's BPS, BPAS, there's phthalates, like literally. So when they say BPA, it's still a cope. Any company that says BPA, it's literally still a cope. What you need is genuinely either a label that says estrogenic-free, which I've never seen in my life before. Have you ever seen like something that says estrogenic free? Like you say BPA free and stuff, fine. You've probably never seen estrogenic free. I've never seen that before, right? Or in terms of plastics with BPA and everything, you genuinely need to just like not touch plastics, not use plastics. Like it blows my mind. Just plastics. They're everywhere. The casing of this camera is plastic. This computer mouse is plastic. The phone case that you're holding is plastic. Sometimes you have plastic cups that you drink water from, plastic water bottles, plastic plates, plastic keyboard, plastic little extensions here, plastic pens, bro. Look, just literally like almost like a horror movie. Look around and I guarantee you're gonna see a bunch of plastic stuff for a few seconds. Just do that, right? And then stop, and I guarantee if you counted how many you just saw, there's probably 10, right? I guarantee if you took the time today and counted how many plastic things you have in your room, there'd be over 100. The more you look, the more you realize, like I'm looking on top of my desk, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is plastic, this is plastic. And then you zoom out and you're like, the casing of the desk is plastic. There's plastic on the computer chair. That's estrogenic. And once you start to look into this, right now I seem crazy, but once you start to look into this, you should do your own research, and soon I'll tell you like where to look into and stuff if you're interested in this topic. You're gonna start to feel crazy. And one other big thing that is extremely estrogenic and extremely problematic is EE2s. EE2 is just a chemical that's coming from, remember we spoke about it, the birth hormone, the contraceptive. So it's literally like the pill that girls take. So they take the pill every single day for whatever reason they want to, and it means they can't get pregnant and everything. It genuinely kind of messes their hormones significantly. To think about it, they're taking a pill. Just imagine this, right? They're taking a pill that literally stops them from being able to get pregnant. We're kind of like, we know this technology, we know this like medicine or something, right? We know it now, but just think about what's gonna happen inside of a woman for that to actually be like successful. It destroys their hormone profile. And when they pee, it is excreted. And it's not like I don't know about you, but I always had the perception that like our water would be incredibly clean because, you know, like, oh yeah, the government just fixes it. The government just cleans it. And it's true, if you live in like a developed country, there is a pretty good like water filtration system. You know, like we shit in the toilet, but like you don't get shit in your water or anything, right? So they've got things like chemicals that destroy like, you know, bacteria and everything, and all the waste gets filtered out, so we get essentially clean water. But it's got chemicals and hormones. Hormones can't really be filtered out because hormones are extremely, like from my understanding, extremely small molecules, and they can't be like killed by chemicals or heat or anything because hormones can't be killed, they're not alive. It's just like literally molecules. So it's problematic. We literally have women all around the world, like a lot, like the use of the pill has skyrocketed. Just peeing into the toilet. And with, you know, filtration and cleaning, like we end up drinking that. This is like, I know this probably sounds weird and you're thinking, no, that's not how it happens. But like, this is literally just like the water filtration system. We drink the same water as the dinosaurs did. But there's a crucial step we're missing, which is the filtration of hormones. So we've mentioned BPA so far, right? BPA is just, we can say, one chemical that's in plastics that we know for a fact is estrogenic, right? So BPA is just one chemical that's in plastics, right? There's a rise recently of people talking about BPA for really good reason, and that BPA is extremely bad for us, right? So what people have spoke about is with plastic bottles, and like consumers, you know, like normal people are telling companies, okay, we won't settle for anything which isn't like BPA free. And so like, you know, companies are making new water bottles that've got BPA free and everything. But if they're plastic, they've just got other ingredients in them. It's still plastic. And so BPA acts like estrogen, right? And there's a few things here which you might not have thought of. Credit cards, which we keep in our wallet, which we put next to our balls. And you know the one that hurts me personally, that genuinely hurt me, that I had surgery for at the start of this year. I genuinely had like a full-on surgery, like they put me to sleep and everything. They snipped my balls and everything. I'm not even, like, I know this sounds like silly or something, like this is actually serious. Like this is like, there's a medical condition called varicocele for men. And a lot of men have it. And it's when the veins in your balls essentially feel like they've just like clamped up and become like a big, like they get tangled up essentially. The veins in your balls are usually on one side, just suddenly gets like tangled up. And it's somewhat painful, but it's like a dull pain. It's like a 1 out of 10 pain, but it's just there 24/7. So you kind of ignore it sometimes, right? But it's actually one of the biggest causes of infertility as well. Like people who have that, men who have a varicocele, are drastically more likely to be infertile than men who don't. And you can just check if you've got one. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or something, so you should go get like an examination or whatever. But you can check if you've got one. Literally just grab your balls and feel like above your balls, like more towards like the inside of you. And just kind of like slightly, very like softly press on like the veins that are there. And usually on your right side, you'll feel that, yep, you know, there's like a few, like 2 veins or something. Okay, that's normal. But then if you feel on your left, if you feel the exact same thing, there's nothing else. Yeah, 2 lines of veins. Okay, no, that's fine. But if you feel like a clump of veins, that's most likely a varicocele. It might feel like a bag of worms that are like, you know, like all tangled up like worms, right? And you can feel the texture and everything. That's a varicocele. I got it, noticed it for a while, eventually got surgery, right? And when I heard of BPA and that there is a hyper concentrated amount of BPA on receipts, like, do you know when you go to a store, you go to the cashier, you buy it with your card or with cash, and would you like your receipt? And they give you the receipt. There is a hyper concentrated amount of BPA on there. There's not like plastic on there, but it's like the chemical that they use to make this kind of receipt paper that they pull out of the card machine. There's a hyper concentrated amount of that when you get a receipt. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot of guys can say this. When you get a receipt as a man, where do you put it? You take out your wallet, you put it in your wallet, you put your wallet back on your left side, which I assume, right, this could just be me just trying to like jump to a conclusion, but I'm pretty sure that most guys will keep their phone on their right pocket and their wallet on their left. If you're based and you know this stuff already, you're probably thinking, no, I keep both in like some like EMG free bag or something, right? But for most guys, probably phone on the right side, wallet on the left, am I right? Wallet on the left side with 20 receipts in there, which have got a hyper concentrated amount of BPA next to your balls. And the overwhelming majority of men who get varicocele, it's on the left side, and no one's really been able to figure out why. Like, maybe there's something different between our left and right side, and maybe that's why. But is this a far-fetched like conspiracy theory that I'm onto here? But I always kept mine on my left, bro. I kept a wallet with like 20 receipts in my pocket on the left for years without really knowing it was a bad thing. And then, right, there's also the new plastic notes, cash notes. So in the UK, we transitioned to like plastic, like £5 note, £10 notes, like years ago. We used to have like papery ones. And I don't know whatever country you're from, you might have seen this recently, maybe in your country or some like close countries, that like we don't have the old paper notes anymore. The new ones that are being made are literally like this plasticky material, which we put in our wallet on the left side. So the UK has got plastic notes now. Like every cash machine you go to has got plastic notes. They've ruled out like the paper ones, and like the plastic ones are the only ones that the banks give out right now. And the government's like told them to maybe do that. I went to Thailand, and even there as well, literally just plastic notes, plastic notes, plastic notes. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like plasticky material in a note. I've even got some here. I don't even want to show you. I don't even want to touch it. But we used to have like paper cash notes. And now there's like plastic ones that we keep in our wallets next to our balls. And we touch this, right? And we touch this BPA when the cashier gives you a receipt. Like, think about the last time you went to a shop or something, or a restaurant or whatever, and the cashier gives you a receipt, and you take the receipt, right, and you touch it with your fingers. That's a hyper amount of BPA that's like literally seeping inside of your skin and everything, right? So what do? So you just okay, put this receipt away, go wash your hands, put some soap on your hands, use some of the hand sanitizer that they put everywhere these days, right? The hand sanitizer that they put everywhere. You can go into any shopping mall, any restaurant, bro, there's a hand sanitizer on every table, right? The newest studies are showing that if you use hand sanitizer after touching BPA, it makes it 100 times worse. 100 times worse. That's comparable to that 7-day exposure that we mentioned in with the study of the fish with the BPA. That's a comparable number to them. There's some weird chemical reaction in a lot of hand sanitizers and soaps and hand washes. And what it does when you've got BPA on your fingers, it makes it up to 100 times worse. We can't even fathom that. That seems like a big number, bro. We can't even fathom it. 100 times worse. If I told you and it makes it 3 times worse, we'd be shocked. 100 times worse is like, we can't even imagine what the fuck's going on here. And now my heart goes out to the poor souls who are working some shit job as a waiter or whatever. You're behind the desk and you touch receipts all day. And I did that, bro. I was going through puberty doing that. I was working at my dad's shop, literally, like, he had a corner store, and like, we got the cash machine there. My dad's teaching me how to do it. Oh, here's the roll of the paper that's got all the shit on it that goes inside of the little cash machine. Okay, here you go. Would you like your receipt? Here you go. An hour later, I'm like jacking off or something, like touching my dick with the same fingers, bro. At this point, I would not be surprised if you didn't believe me. Genuinely, like, it'd be like good for you to not believe what I'm saying and to do your own research and to critique and everything, because this sounds like unreasonable. But I think that this is genuinely like the hidden reason of low testosterone for most guys. Because, not for most guys, okay? Well, for most guys, for every guy. But there's a lot of guys who, for example, need to be told, okay, fix your sleep. There's a lot of guys who need to be told, yeah, stop eating that weird junk food that you're eating, stop eating the sugar and stuff. Oh, you drink alcohol? Yeah, stop that, right? Every testosterone video you've watched online is basic as fuck, isn't it? It's always the same thing, like 7 ways to improve your I've done these videos as well. 7 ways to improve your testosterone. Number 1, fix your sleep. Number 2, don't drink alcohol. Like, it's this stuff that, like, once you've been on self-improvement for like 3 months, you don't need to hear this shit anymore, right? We can always improve our sleep a little bit, but fine. But like, we've got to a good level, right? And if you're watching this 30 minutes in, you're probably not an alcoholic. You're probably not someone who needs to be told, yeah, don't eat 200 grams of sugar a day. Don't eat fucking the anabolic diet by, what's his fucking name? Coach Greg or whatever the fuck. Like, oh yeah, pancake, like fucking bodybuilders. Oh yeah, pancakes and shit, right? You probably have surpassed that level of ignorance, right? You don't eat 200 grams of sugar a day. You don't eat ultra processed little like colorful packages of Doritos, of Mountain Dew, soft drinks. A few months in to fixing your life, you realize that's not the right way to live, right? You didn't need anyone recently to tell you, yeah, this is the way to improve your testosterone. Number 1, don't drink out. Like, we knew this, right? So for you, the young man on self-improvement, you've probably felt the same way as me, where you feel like there's been something missing. Like, I'm doing these things that every YouTuber spoke about, this testosterone, every article online, every little doctor who's mentioned testosterone. I'm doing all of them. They're all saying sleep and, oh yeah, exercise. I've been doing all of them. So why is my testosterone still 500 to 600? And people will hear that and be like, oh, but that's pretty good, dude. It's like, it's pretty good compared to the modern person, but I'm not trying to be like pretty good compared to these people, bro. Come on. I know I sound like a dickhead, but I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm not trying to be like slightly higher testosterone than the average guy, bro. I want to be 2 or 3 times more like the average man's testosterone. I want to be like matching my great grandfather's level and maybe surpassing that. People think this is extremist, bro. I don't care. I want to feel like a real man. And I think that comes down to testosterone. And I think once you've passed the fundamentals, and of course we can always improve our sleep a little bit more. Of course our diet, like, oh yeah, we shouldn't have had the that little treat 3 weeks ago. Okay, fine. There's always a little bit to improve on. I'm not saying, yeah, we should just give up on self-improvement. But when you get to a point when you start to wonder, like, there's something missing. You probably feel the same way. There's something else that's messing us up. And I think we've uncovered it now. I think it's these random, like this thing that we never even comprehended, that there's literally like just objects all around us that are reducing our testosterone. They're increasing our estrogen, which is then impacting our testosterone.